Yeah, so we got the Champo Ligo games and we have
Mm-hmm.
Europa League as well. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, there's loads happening in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was always hoping that United and Arsenal could get knocked out in the Europa League so we could stop doing all of it together because like there's too much. For this is meant to be
Yeah,
the bonus short episode. There's always way what happens.
the longest one. Yeah. There was a streaker in the United game.
Yeah, like that would usually be like I don't know that make the final edit. Man, what kind of world we live in? We don't have time for a streak anymore. What have we become?
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense Podcast, European Football Edition, my favorite episode of the week. We had Champions League, we had Europa League. We won't get it all in, probably. We won't fit all the nonsense, the footballing action, the far-reaching implications of these games. One of my favorite subplots, for various reasons, is the English right back power rankings because they were all playing strangely. Maybe not strangely, you think there's all the top clubs, but like nevertheless, you had Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, and who else was this?
Well, Wan-Bissaka was playing, but he's not. He doesn't count for some reason.
Yeah, well, Wan-Bissaka is Europa League, and you had Kyle Walker as well playing in the Champions League. And no disrespect to Matty Cash, I just I think you have me call at this point, Matty. It's going to be you need a few injuries for Matty Cash on that plane, but they're all playing, and I think the person who's firmly at the bottom of that after this week is in no small way thanks to Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, dear Jesus, like. He is unlucky that every mistake he seems to make leads directly to a goal.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't have like who's defending him. It's Nat Phillips is backing him up. Who's like he's not at it compared. Like he used to have Van Dijk behind him. That's some difference.
Well, that's it. If you head the ball back into the path of room to player, there's not much Van Dijk can do either. I mean, unless he knows you're going to do that, unless that's part of the plan. I mean, no one ever said he was a good defender. That's the thing. Everyone said
that was his whole thing.
He was an excellent deliverer of a ball, like great cross. He had great pace, so he kind of get back in if he was making mistakes. And then, like I said, he had Gomez and Van Dijk there in the middle, so he was never under too much pressure. So I don't think he's gotten any worse, to be fair to him. That's all I'll say. But I think he's been unlucky in that the mistakes he's making have been high-profile ones that lead directly to goals. So it's like, what's happened to Alexander-Arnold? Like, not much. It's just he's been a bit unlucky and he's not very good.
Liverpool aren't winning those games anymore after his mistakes.
Exactly, yeah. And then, like you say, I think just slightly above him for some reason is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who, he hasn't been called up either. So I think he's probably an outside bet to make that play as well. He had a decent game for United, but I think because he's just so low on the list, he has to have a flawless game and then also be man of the match in every game to kind of.
He has to score a hat trick.
Yeah, and like he has to be the best defender plus attacking because he's just not rated at the moment. But he's above Alexander-Arnold, that's for sure. Did you see the MNF stuff? I only saw the clips, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
I saw the clips of them picking the teams and things like that.
That was so funny, man. Carragher was going mad, like, and I know was never like pretending to not know what he was doing when he was like, "Hey, I was asked a question. I'm just answering it." Now back to why Trent Alexander is so bad and why everyone thinks he's so bad. It's like. Because you might ask why didn't Southgate pick him? He could have said, "Look, I don't know, it could be any reason." He's like, "No, I'll tell you why. Here are the reasons that he's not a good footballer." And Carragher's like, "What are you doing? What are you saying? What do you do? What do you think you're doing right now?" It's like, I'm just answering a question. I'm just saying what Gareth Southgate thinks. It's like, how do you know what Gareth Southgate thinks? Like, if you're Alexander-Arnold, I mean, I don't know where they probably were in Madrid at that time. Were they? They're probably because of
Yeah,
recovering
so.
that. So I mean,
They're normally there.
on Monday, definitely on Monday they were. Like he's definitely seen that on Twitter or Instagram. As he's kind
Well,
of
definitely on Twitter, people are definitely firing it at him. I'd say everywhere he looks.
as he sifts through the racist abuse he's probably getting,
Yeah.
he can see the Gary Neville dogging him, and then you go out against Real Madrid and you make those mistakes. You're just thinking, oh my god, like it has to be tough, like.
Yeah, definitely. And I never really thought of that, of what, because obviously we always see and constantly are bombarded by all the pundit stuff, but you never really hear what the players think of it. Like, what does Pogba think of Graham Souness and stuff like that?
Yeah, and
Never
like
thought of it before.
it like say if you're like not even on Instagram or on, if you're like I don't look at it at all, like you will hear it, like you can't avoid it when someone's talking shit about you. Like it comes back to you. So yeah, I think it's mad because remember we were saying before where you said, oh yeah, Liverpool will definitely make top 4, and that at the time did not seem strange. Like if you just say, yeah, Reece James will probably go ahead of Alexander Arnold a year ago, I couldn't have foreseen the things that would have had to happen for that to be. And to say no, Alexander Arnold's not injured, he's just not going to go. There's probably like 3 right backs ahead of him. It's like, who are these? Like, what has happened that in the space of a year he's been gone
I
from?
think was it not last season, the season before, he won like
the Golden Boy, was it?
20. Yeah, he was like the Golden Boy of the world.
Yeah, I think like Sterling won it and Mbappe won. I think maybe we're wrong in that, but I think he
won something, I think.
Yeah. Now the thing is, well, it's like, well, he's good when he has Van Dijk with him. So, he hasn't changed. But it's like, well, he doesn't have Van Dijk. He has Harry Maguire and possibly John Stones. So, I mean, that doesn't really help his case to say that all he needs is really, really good centre backs with him. It's like, well, he doesn't have that either. So,
all he needs is the best centre back and best goalkeeper in the world behind him, and he's no mistakes.
Solid as a rock at the back. But I mean, that is the case for. I mean, you think of like Cafu and Roberto Carlos as well. Like, I mean, they used to bomb forward, and I mean, they had a great midfield in the middle as well that would, make them control the ball. But the other person then, I think, if I was to pick it now, if they were picking it today, I think it'd probably be Trippier and Reece James, weirdly. And Trippier wasn't playing obviously during the week, but I think that kind of helps him a little bit because
he's hidden.
You don't see
out
him.
Of sight, out of mind.
And then also as well, it's like when you're discussing like picking players like that or picking your team, if you don't mention Trippier and Atletico Madrid, even though most people don't watch this, you'll sound like an idiot. It's like, oh, you I didn't know I was talking to a footballing idiot who doesn't even know about Atletico Madrid. Don't you know about Diego Simeone and the defensive culture they have there? Like,
No. Do go on about Matty Cash.
Yeah, like you have to mention, even though you don't watch it, you don't even know if he is making mistakes or. So I think he will go by virtue of people saying like, oh, well, if you don't even know about him, then you have no opinion. So I think he's by most people's teams. And plus he was good for them in the last World Cup, to be fair. I mean, he's not, a bad player by any stretch either. Reece James actually had the best one. Kyle Walker, like he was kind of a fault for that first goal, or for the goal against Dortmund.
He kind of has games like that. Like he'll be savage for a string, and then he'll just have a stinker out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's a bit like Alexander Arnold. That he does rely on his pace to kind of cover himself in terms of positioning. But he's not as good going forward as Reece James.
He's better at defending, though, I think.
Yeah, but I think he's kind of in the middle of like not as good as Trippier or Wan-Bissaka defending, not as good going forward as Reece James, Alexander Arnold. So it's like,
but excellent.
but maybe not, again, not a bad footballer, but like, and then Reece James, they had a great win over Porto. So I mean, he had a solid game, and he looks better every time you see him. So I think it'll either be, if you were to pick it today, you'd probably go Trippier and Reece James, but I think Walker would probably get that spot. I think Trippier will be cast aside to. I mean, who even watches Atletico Madrid games? No one's gonna bring up a fuss about it. Who's Atletico Madrid fans that are going to kick up a fuss? There's not going to be one. Gareth Southgate knows his audience. Well, that was that little subplot. But I also see an emerging subplot that I think this is a really kind of a B storyline that no one's talking about. Is the left back position, because earlier on in the year it was Chilwell literally by default, because Danny Rose wasn't playing for Tottenham, Luke Shaw was totally like past at 25, he's not playing anymore. Who is there another English left back that you can think of?
Chilwell.
I think it was literally by default that Chilwell was in there. Like, I don't think there was even a contender in the Premier League.
Luke Shaw normally doesn't go though. There is someone else. I can't remember who.
It was Leighton Baines for a while.
Baines.
And I think possibly Trippier played left back at the last World Cup for them at times and had Walker on the side.
Yeah.
So, like, it was all Chilwell. And then just as people were starting to put up their mock 11s, Lampard gets sacked. And then Tuchel goes, hey, we have 2 left backs at the club. Why don't we just play them both? Seems as we're in the Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League, and we have a million games a week. Why don't we play them both? And then Luke Shaw scored that. Well, he didn't score, but he had a great run against City. He was like just lined up perfectly for Luke Shaw to be like, oh yeah. And now, I like to say, as people make their mock 11s, I've not seen anybody with Chilwell in the team. It's like just like
he's gone.
I'm having the entire year, and Leicester being solid. Like, no, he's gone. It's Luke Shaw in. But just I was looking, would have it then. Chilwell scored an unreal goal, a great finish.
Yeah.
Which is what you would say. Like Luke Shaw's probably better going forward. Now it's like, oh well, he's pretty good too. I think they'll both go. Like it'll be him and him go again, kind of by default, but because they're good players. But now it's like who will start, him or Shaw? Shaw got taken off against Granada.
Apparently, he got taken off because Ollie was worried that he was going to get injured, and like the question was like, "Oh, does he have a knock or anything?"
Yeah,
and he didn't say outright, no, like the other team were dirty, but he was like, no knock, just in case. So it was a very thinly veiled, like, they're a nasty team, I don't like them.
Well, I think even more so than injury, that could have happened, but he was on a yellow, and like I said, the way they were playing, they were saying, right, every ball down that way and get him sent off. And
a few dives at him, and the way they were getting booked as well. Yeah.
You never know. So I mean, that was probably part of it too. And when you have Telles on the bench to come on,
yeah, exactly.
Why not? Again, when you have 2 left backs, why not play them, Frank? I mean, it seems like it makes sense to me.
As time goes on, Frank really, made a few mistakes.
Well, I was thinking about this before, that like when he was at Chelsea, how many players were like just ostracized at the club? Like think of like Malouda, Mikel at different times, and he's like, "Hey, it worked for every manager I was under." So he's like, "Well, I should just like the players I want to play, just really just excommunicate them from the team. That's what usually worked for me.
Throw them under the bus every week."
Yeah, and I know like older generation players always go on, but players are so soft now. They all want the arm around them. But there's maybe an element of that like when he was playing, like say in the mid 2000s. It was, if you're not good enough, you're not playing at Chelsea. Like that happened to loads of players, like Joe Cole and loads of players. Just like, nah, you're not good enough as a team, and therefore not good enough to be in my sight. So get out. And that's like seemingly what Frank Lampard did with like Rudiger and Alonso. I was like, you're not quite as good, so therefore get out of here. I don't want to see you.
I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah. I don't want you poisoning my good players with your bad player thoughts. I don't know why it didn't work. I don't know why people didn't like me. So I don't know, that was the kind of the subplots, which I kind of find interesting more so than the game sometimes. But the first game was on Tuesday, was Liverpool Real Madrid, and that is the Liverpool we've come to know this season. I think that's
that is back to basics there. Well, Real Madrid were good, I will say.
This is the kind of thing as well, and we spoke about before as well, that we're like, oh well, if it wasn't for the coronavirus, this Real Madrid team wouldn't be playing. All these old bastard fucks, like they would be so like I was looking at their team, like it's a really, really, like in terms of balanced team. What you want young players, pace, you want experienced players who've done before. Like you think of, okay, Modric is 36, but like he doesn't look like he's past it by any means.
Yeah, Kroos as well doesn't look like it at all.
Kroos is only 31. For the for the way he plays and the position he plays, like that's not by any stretch like, he's not like a box to box. He never was. I mean, there's no, and he doesn't play like he's. And then you have Casemiro, who is still one of the best midfielders in the world. So that's like a really solid midfield. Then you have Benzema, the other one who's past this. He's one of the best strikers in the world right now, I would say. If you were taking the number 9s like Lewandowski and Benzema, like he's right up there. There's no, and he's playing well in a team that he's played well in before, with the manager who knows how he plays. Like he's in a perfect situation. they could win the whole thing. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they really could. Like that'd be some achievement from Zidane as well. He'd surely be one of the best ever if he pulls that off. Like 4 Champions Leagues in what feels like less than 4 years.
Well, the 3 in a row, you'd say maybe he's riding a wave, but then you leave, they don't do as well, and you come back and you do it again.
Yeah, with a worse team, definitely.
Well, without Ronaldo,
even as good as they are, like they're,
to say like, because you can always say, oh, well, Ronaldo won that Champions League, whatever, like, or Bale, they're the ones that score big. Like, if you come back and do it with different players, like Vinicius, I mean, we have to talk about like that goal. Dear God, that goal. Now, like the cynic will say, oh, he was giving Kroos that time and space in the middle, which, fair enough. But I mean, the romantic in me would say that touch from Vinicius to shoulder the ball across the defender and then finish it, like it was insane.
I think he's a teenager as well.
Well, I thought he was older than he is, for sure, because he's been there for a couple of years. I mean, 3 years, I think, at this point. You see him like twice a year in Champions League and you go, that's not very good. He's only
seen him before.
He's only 20, so like he's only improving. This could be one of those breakout years from where he's like, all right, I'm finally putting it together. But he was killing them down that wing from the start of the game. I think they had obviously highlighted Ozan Kabak, the Turkish wall, and Nat Phillips. I said, balls over the top will get them.
Imagine the tactics board is like, all the circles for all the players.
Yeah.
It's just like a big circle drawn around the whole back 4. Loads of arrows pointing at them.
And defend. All right, boys. Tactics pretty simple today. Yeah. It was as simple as, like, again, you say it was simple balls over the top, but I mean the best players they do the simple things well, Will. And if you want to look at it and say Kroos shouldn't be given that time to look up, point, look back down the ball, make sure he hits it perfectly, and then just put it on the plate for him. And again, put it on his shoulder, like a plate for him, but not for most players. But nevertheless,
not for a regular human.
But when I saw the team going out first, it was like Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and Keita. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good team. Like, assuming Keita is obviously fit enough to play. I mean, why would he start him if he wasn't?
That'd be insane.
Yeah, against Kroos and Modric, that would be a bold move to take that risk in the biggest game of the year. He didn't look. That was, I think, his 9th start of the year.
It seems pretty rare he does look fit since they've signed him. It always feels like he's like, any day now he'll be fully match fit, and then he's gone again. He
has been one of the worst signings they've had. Like,
I think so.
It's hard to say that because in that time they've won the league and the Champions League, but it's not because of him. Like, objectively, if you just take away the results that are happening around him with his team, like the money they spent, was it like 70 million for him from Leipzig?
It was a lot. And they spent, remember, they like bought him a year in advance.
Yeah, he was like, there was hype. There was a whole year of like, oh, when he comes, you think you've seen Patrick Vieira. I tell you what, boys, this guy is Pogba on crack. Like.
I wonder, when they pay in advance, does that mean that they paid then and there's a year where they've paid and don't have a player? Or is it like, we will pay this amount, see you in a year? If it's the first one, that's bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's like an installment thing. Maybe we'll pay you half now and half when the deal's done. Half when he's here. I don't know. That's it. Because I only found out recently that they didn't pay them more than one big briefcase full of money, or possibly a bag with the euro sign on it.
It's mostly installments. A lot of it is like goal bonuses and stuff like that as well, so it spreads it all out.
Some of his bonuses and incentivized stuff. I just looked up there. He went from Leipzig to Liverpool for £54 million. So okay, I was probably over egging it there with 70 million, maybe $70 million perhaps. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. £54 million. It's a lot for a player who really hasn't, played a lot for them. Essentially,
put a string of games together.
Yeah. And obviously, it was strange to see him start, but it was stranger to see him come off on 42 minutes.
Yeah. Why bother then?
5 minutes before half time, it feels like kind of I want you to know that you're playing badly.
Yeah. If it was halftime, then he gets a pass. I don't want to give him a pass.
Unless Klopp became overcome with anxiety and just kept seeing Kroos with time and space the ball, like it's going to happen again. Take him off. Because after the game, he said, "Oh no, it was no big issue. I mean, he obviously didn't play well, but I could have made that decision for loads of different players." You know, so I obviously not going to say. Well, I don't know. You don't want to kind of do your dirty laundry in public, whatever that phrase is. But
yeah, no manager would do that.
well, you know, well, the thing is about these games, it is half time essentially. You know, after the game, it's the time to say, yeah, he let us down. It's his fault. It wasn't me. Don't sack me. Sell him. You know, because they could potentially still win this. It's a long shot. I mean, they have the away goal, but it's not even that. It's more that the way they played was so kind of lackluster and I mean, they said, "Oh, this is their worst performance," but I do think people are writing off this Real Madrid team as old and past it. But I mean, they're just like Ramos wasn't playing, and they had that was the thing before the game. It was like, "Oh, no Ramos, no Varane. Maybe Liverpool can take advantage of this."
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter that much. Obviously, you kind of think of this Real Madrid team. Ramos is the embodiment of this Real Madrid team.
Yeah.
But he hasn't played that many games from this year through injury. It was Nacho Hernandez who played in place of him, who's played more games for Real Madrid. Only one more game, but nevertheless, he's played as many games plus one than Ramos. He's played a couple times in the back three with them. He's played a lot with Varane. Varane was the one that was a late change because it was COVID. He got tested positive for COVID. It's like, oh well, that's not one they're expecting, and he's kind of the centre back who's playing all year for them.
He's the fast one as well, like who gets back and all that.
But Nacho has been playing for them in this 10-game unbeaten run they've been on. So I mean, it's not like he was devoid of any football this year. That he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like, you know,
do I kick it? Is it?
He's been a centre back for Real Madrid for years at this point. Like, he's not Nat Phillips knows like a back. That's the point. You know, like in terms of they were not in the situation that Liverpool were in terms of centre backs. And then the other centre back,
they have a good chance of winning the league as well. Real.
They're still in it. They're absolutely still in it. Yeah. They're like it's not over by a long shot. So I mean, I think they have strength and depth. Obviously, they still had Marcelo and they had Valverde on the bench. He came on later on. He's only come back from injury, I think, for Real Madrid. So like they have a really, really good team.
Yeah.
And I was one of the people who said, "Oh yeah, this team is old and useless." But I mean, I think it was kind of a combination of they've been around for so long, and they were on 3 in a row and they lost that. So you kind of think, "Oh, well, that's the natural end of that team." And then Ronaldo going as well, but I think they're definitely a good bet for it, and they'll probably go through against Liverpool. I would imagine that's probably my prediction is still intact for that one.
Yeah, your predictions did pretty well. I think
they did. If it wasn't for fucking some dodgy referee, I don't know what was going on in that City Dortmund game. I mean, it was strange because if it was the other way around, like, I mean, my point, what I'm getting at is that there's some decisions that went against Dortmund for sure. The big one being the Jude Bellingham one.
Yeah, who got a card for kicking the ball.
Yeah, it was a pass back to Ederson, who kind of took a touch and tried to just lash it away, and Bellingham just basically got there first, tipped away from him, and then he got kicked by.
He was kicked by Ederson.
Yeah, I know that stuff is fine in a way, right? Because if you could see it happening somewhere else, going, yeah, you see people kicking other players and getting frees all the time, so it's not beyond the realms of I've never seen that happen before. But it was more that you couldn't really see in real time. It kind of happened very quickly, and then Jude Bellingham was in to tap it in. But just before that, the ref blew the whistle very quickly, just in case we could go back and VAR check. That was the thing. People said, "What about VAR?" Like, once the referee blows the whistle, you can't go back and check VAR. So the referee kind of saw it, almost kind of like, "Oh, she's going to score," and then blew the whistle. It was a bit like
Lee Mason,
Lee Mason, or whoever it was.
With Dunk, was it?
Yeah, he blew the whistle quickly to kind of cover himself. Like, oh fuck! Like, City are going to concede a really bad goal here.
They're going to be so mad at me.
That's what it seemed like. I mean, that was my prediction, that I think that Dortmund could catch them on the hop here and get a win, but I think City would win overall. As it turns out, City got the win there, and they go in 2-1. That's how I thought it would end, but in the opposite way. for Dortmund, they might get a 2-1 kind of like, geez, how do they do that? And then City would kind of go. I think City will. I don't know. Maybe they weren't expecting. Maybe they were kind of thinking. Again, they didn't play with a striker for some reason because that's
they don't have one. It's just it's very strange. They don't have one, but it does not matter at all.
And they do have Aguero and Jesus, but I mean, I guess it's just not as good as a false nine, Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, but like Aguero, I think he scored like 1 goal or 2 goals in the last year or something. I think his time is kind of done now.
Well, he has definitely come back from injury, but I don't think Pep is like, just tell me when you're fit. Tell me when you're feeling okay enough to play in my team. I don't think Pep is bothered by him coming back from injury. He's like, listen, if you're going to displace someone.
We've been doing quite well. Let's not go changing things.
And I think he rathers that. I think he rathers being like, we're such a good team. We don't have a striker. Yeah. I think he'd rather win that way than win with Aguero scoring a hat-trick in the final. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that was one of the predictions I thought. I think Jude Bellingham was only 17.
He's unbelievable, isn't he? He's something.
And we were just saying, like, listen, Tielemans and Ndidi, it takes a lot to compete with that city midfield. He was, like, really good at 17. I was thinking this as well, that England and us as well, Ireland, like, we, most of the players play in the Premier League or even in England. So, like, you don't have to kind of watch other leagues to play. And we were saying it before with the Atletico Madrid right back, Trippier, he plays in Atletico Madrid, and people don't watch that game, so like, you don't really know how he's doing. Then you have Jude Bellingham, and it's like it's this kind of conversation like, oh well, like I don't want to seem like a player but doesn't know about other leagues, but I don't watch them, so I have no idea. Like for France and for Germany and for Italy, they're like,
you have to watch everything. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Like obviously, you employ the manager to do that, but I mean, the general opinion of the public, I wonder how they do it. Like, I wonder how the man in the street in Italy, like, obviously, that's not what the best example. France is probably the best example because their league wasn't as strong in recent years. They would have players playing in Italy. When I think of like, they had Trezeguet and Zidane playing in Italy. You had Henry playing in England. You had players playing in Spain as well. Like, what is their opinion? They sure don't watch all the games. Like, they don't watch the match of the equivalent of all those leagues, do they?
Well, someone was telling me yesterday actually that. Do you know France's like under 18 and under 23 teams in like the league? They all play 4-3-3, and their international team plays 4-3-2-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But all the teams play the same way, so that they're built for the national team. So it's like from day one, people aren't really worried about club level. They're thinking about the national team. Like, so you're always fitting in and looking at, right, they'll slot in here in 7 years or something.
Right. So
I wonder, are the people in France like that as well, where they're kind of always following everyone, thinking like he's perfect for the national team. They're not really worried about all the different clubs. Like,
so they'd worry that like, well, I saw him playing for the 23s against Albania, and he was not good. Yeah. He did not have a good game. Yeah, because like the English, I will admit I don't follow the Irish under 23s or the underage system at all, but certainly the English ones, like especially the under 21, is like players who aren't good to play for England.
Yeah, because the England team is all 22, 23.
Yeah, it's all people who are eligible to play, and like the players who just aren't good enough for England and never will be, perhaps, play under 21. Like there's not like a natural progression always, you know. Like, because like even someone like Jack Grealish could make their underage team, I guess, and play for us, and then gets jazzed into the national team. Like there's no like players played under 16, 17, 18, you know, and then he graduates to the senior squad. That's interesting. I didn't know that. There you go, folks. A bit of rare insight on the No Nonsense podcast.
Yeah, might not be true. Someone told me it.
Well, that's back on brand. Okay, good. I was getting scared. I thought you were slowly outgrowing me there, Will. Thank God for your total lack of sources on that one. Scared me. Well, I just heard that. The real point of controversy thing that game was the linesman. You saw that, obviously. You saw the clip at least. Romanian linesman. What's his name? Octavion Sovre.
Great name.
It is a cool name for sure. He approached Haaland in the tunnel and got an autograph for him, which it's kind of like almost like a chant or something, or like, you know, he must be a fan. He must be looking for his autograph after the game. Like he literally was looking for the autograph after the game.
Yeah.
Kind of a no-no, I would say. Like,
a conflict of interest, definitely.
Yeah, and it came out after the game that he was getting the autograph for an autism charity.
Yeah.
Which is all good and well. I mean, it's a good cause, but it's just kind of the principle of it. Like, you shouldn't kind of cross those. Again, like I say, it's half time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same refereeing team now. I don't know that for sure. Is it?
Well, like, he'll referee another Haaland game again in the future.
Yeah, but is it all?
And in his mind, he's like, Haaland's a really good guy. I like him. He probably won't make that foul.
and even if it's not true, and it's again, it's total speculation. But I mean, if you're the linesman and you have in your head, I want to get this autograph for this charity after the game.
Yeah.
And then you put up a flag for offside, or you call a foul on Haaland, thinking, he might give me an autograph now. Not that that happened in any way. I don't think there was an example of it in the game, but like it's that premise of like, if you need something from him after the game, a personal favor, which it was, then you're gonna want to do a personal favor for him just naturally. That's human instinct. You don't want to piss him off. So I mean, it is wrong. You can't be doing that. Like, so
well, like, just don't do it on camera, dummy.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that too. Like, why didn't you go in the dressing room? But I thought maybe COVID or something. Maybe some kind of like.
Oh, maybe.
They're not allowed in the dressing room, or maybe it's like, are they allowed to use dressing rooms? Even do they go straight in the bus?
I don't know
perhaps?
what the refs are. I don't know. Don't know how it works actually.
So maybe that was part of it too. Like, he's like, oh, if I don't stop him here, I won't get it, kind of thing. But I just don't think you should do it at all. I think it's not. It's the only thing is, like, FIFA would probably come down so hard on him, way harder than they would for racism. Strip him of his professional. Yeah, so it's one of those things that FIFA, they love coming down hard on stuff that's like it's wrong, but like
it's not as wrong as the other stuff that you do.
Yeah, so I'm not just trying to say
that ref. They're like message him and they're like, you will not ever referee a game at the Qatar World Cup. How dare you?
yeah. That he will be stripped of some kind of international something or whatever. Like, but yeah, it didn't sit right with me. It just didn't look good. It was kind of like just again, not that anything bad happened in the game, but it's just the principle of it was not right.
Yeah, it's just like a blanket ban for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how good it is, unfortunately. But
yeah, so yeah, that's going back to Dortmund after the second leg. This is where the yellow wall and the home fans. That's where you would see. Okay, Dortmund are definitely in this game. They have an away goal, 2-1. Not get the game is no, but I think they're just going so well. And there's no it's next week, so sometimes it can be like fortunes can change in the space of 2 or 3 weeks. But City are still going well, and they have all their players fit. So I mean, they should be fine for that one. But who knows? I think I'll stick by my prediction. I'm gonna change any of my predictions. I'm gonna stick by it because, like I say, it's only half time. The other game then was Wednesday, wasn't it? It was Chelsea, Porto, and Bayern PSG. Again, I had the setup for that, even though I kind of knew PSG and Bayern was going to be the good game.
You had the multiple cameras, evil layer situation.
Yeah, again, it wasn't so much I wasn't watching either game. I was watching mainly the PSG Bayern game. That was a great game.
Yeah, savage.
That was definitely the game of the round. My patented game of the round. PSG versus Bayern.
People have been dying to hear.
Yeah, just my opinion on games that happened 3 years ago. It was very reminiscent. Obviously, it was the replay of the final last year. It kind of played out the same way, to be fair. Bayern were very much on top, and PSG were trying to hit them on the counter. The difference this year being that they scored on the counter. I remember they had big chances in the Champions League final last year. They missed them. Helped by Neuer, really kind of threw that one in.
Yeah, that was odd. That's not like him at all.
I know it was snowing and maybe it was hard to see, but yeah, you kind of expect better from Neuer. Like, if that hadn't gone in, that was kind of one of their biggest chances of the game. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really look like it was going to go PSG's way, but they got that goal that kind of changed it, and then it puts Bayern under pressure. I know, of course, that man Choupo-Moting.
Well, the Choupo-Moting derby didn't disappoint.
No, I think he wanted to celebrate against his former team, but Muller said, "Come on, don't do it, man. They love you too much here in PSG. They would kill them to see you celebrate against them." He scored, and then they immediately got the ball back. We got to go on and win this game because they were well on top.
I don't know if you saw. I think it was Martin Keown commentating, who got there was like a compilation put up online of all the names he got wrong throughout the commentating, including Chopper Motor up top for
Chopper Motor. That's hilarious. That's barely close. Barely the same syllables. Wow, Chopper Motor. He's that one that he kind of almost strikes as one of those cultured English centre backs who kind of knows these foreigners' names.
Spoofer. If it's not in the Premier League, they haven't a clue.
Well, there was a funny bit where he said when the commentator was like, "Yeah, Tube Moting at PSG, formerly of PSG, formerly of Stoke City as well. Didn't score many goals at PSG, although he hasn't really scored many goals anywhere he's been." It's kind of like people are like, wait, how is he here? Where's he scored goals to get to PSG and Bayern?
Playing for Bayern against PSG, his old club, coming from Stoke.
But he did score. I mean, say what we will, he did score against PSG and kept him in that tie. Got the first goal, and then Muller scored the second one. And he scored the. That was put them 2-1 up, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think they went up first.
And they kept, as cameramen love to do, or the directors, whoever's producing the camera angles, kept cutting to Yuki Low in the stands as Muller scored. Every time Muller did anything, it was like, oh, he's not good enough for the German side who lost to North Macedonia.
Yeah,
perhaps?
interesting.
No?
Well, as well, was that on in Bayern Stadium or PSG's?
It was in Bayern, yeah. It was in the Allianz.
So I'd imagine all the cameramen were German.
Yeah. Yeah, more likely. Because he did that thing where he, not that thing, but he, in the last qualifying, or maybe after the 2018 World Cup, maybe it wasn't, but at some stage anyways, he publicly said, this team needs to evolve and move on. So Muller and Hummels, and I think possibly Boateng. Yeah, you're out. You're fucking out. These guys are fucking in. Which seems weird because he's only, like I say, he's only 31 now. So he was still like, what about Hummels? Hummels is kind of his form has dipped a little bit. He never struck me as somebody who cared that much. Ever since he dyed his hair blonde at like 27 years of age, I thought, you're not that interested in all this kind of football crack. Like, I know he was at Bayern. He was obviously excellent for Dortmund over the years, but he was always a very kind of cool, relaxed customer. I don't think it bothers him that much that he's not going on international trips to North Macedonia on his days off.
On the front page of the papers is a disgrace. Yeah,
but Muller is definitely one that I think would love to play for Germany again, and he is still playing well for Bayern. He's not number 9 though. He's not like a conventional. He's not like a Ronaldo wide player or a Benzema up top, number 9, or Lewandowski. And he's not like a number 10 either. He's not like he's
it's kind of he's like formed his own thing of just be beside Lewandowski, just like do what he's doing, but a bit further back so you can do it for him. Like
he does it all. I mean, he does score a lot of goals. He tackles, he defends, he gets assists. He's an all-rounder kind of thing, which you just don't see. It's kind of very specialized positions these days.
Box-to-box striker.
Yeah, but that's perfect actually. A box-to-box striker who, like, it's mad. But it was all about Mbappe, wasn't it? It was all about Mbappe getting 2 goals
once again.
The first goal, like I say, was kind of thrown in by Neuer. The third goal, what was the second goal? I don't remember the second goal for PSG.
The second goal was Neymar's unbelievable assist, where he like turned and just to the wall.
Second,
who scored the second one?
I don't know. I'll look it up. Bear with us, folks.
This
is live. Podcast. Don't forget, Will. Going out live via Spotify.
Yeah, as we said, as soon as you hit play, we go live wherever we are.
Oh yeah, Marquinhos.
Yeah.
That was an awful goal. What were Bayern doing? Like, it was one of those goals that you see it first, you go, oh, he's surely offside. And then they replay it and they go, oh no, all the Bayern players ran the other way.
Yeah.
Like, no one was marking him, and he just like left completely 1-on-1. When Neymar, like I say, he pinged it back in, and Marquinhos just 1-on-1 and put it in. Very strange defending. It's probably the worst thing when playing the outside trap like that. When it goes wrong, you look
so dumb.
Because the obvious thing's like, well, you could have done that, or you could have just stayed and marked him.
Moved back, ran backwards would have been way better.
Got in front of the ball in between the goal rather than trying to get him offside. Like, it just seems like the lazy option to play offsides. Like, when you just tackle him or defend, perhaps. That was a bad one to give away. Yeah, that was. Yeah, so it was like 3 minutes. Mbappe scored that one. Then 37. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting scored 37 minutes. Yeah, Chap Motor. Thomas Moore then gets the winner at 60 minutes. Choupo-Moting got one back. That's why he was running back the ball. Okay, that makes more sense. I did like I say, I was watching both the games at once. So I mean, I if I missed the finer details
together.
Yeah, I just remember the goals. And then Thomas Moore got the equalizer on the 60th minute. And that's when it was panning over like, wow, look, a big game player in a big game. I wonder, could Germany use him? That's what the narrative was there. And then Mbappe got the winner. Now people are kind of like, again, they're desperate to crown him as the next Messi or Ronaldo, but I don't think it was that great defending for the goal. Like, he was running down that wing, and I saw him like, this is the next Messi. And the last time I saw Boateng marking Messi is when he like comically fell over.
Yeah, every time he played him, he was
trying to
absolutely be humiliated.
Football movie defending. That's what it was. And he just showed him like you can go left or right here, Messi. Either way, I'm going to fall over and you're going to score. So when Mbappe was coming down that way, like, oh my God, the worst man you could have marking him here.
He's getting Vietnam flashbacks.
Yeah, and then he just stood in front of him, opened his legs wide, and then Mbappe right through the gaping hole in between his legs. I thought, oh my God. On the near side for Neuer, and it's like, Mbappe has arrived. I was like, they love it, like, but I was like, it wasn't, he didn't skin him. You know what I mean? He kicked it past him. Kicked it under him. Yeah, that would, like I say, it was in Bavaria, in snowy Bavaria, in Bayern Munich. So it was a big win for PSG. But so how many goals did the Bayern need to win by in Germany now, or in Paris now?
PSG got 3 away goals. So, but if Bayern need to score 2 to win. If it's 2-0, it finishes 2-0, isn't it? Yeah,
like if they win 1-0. PSG go to win away goals because they have 3 away goals.
Exactly, yeah.
If they win 2-0, they'll still go through. Yeah. No, PSG will go through, sure, will they?
No, sure, then it'll be 4-3.
4-3, yeah.
What stupid rule. Away goals is so dumb.
Yeah, I just lose track of it. It's a bit like away goals when like you're playing in other stadiums, like neutral stadiums, no fans. Like the away goals rule still stands firm.
If it goes to extra time, the one team has an hour or more extra goals. There can't be. It does feel like football is like it's so badly done. Where it seems like every week we're like, no, I don't think that's how it works. That shouldn't be the case.
It's a game that was never meant to be black and white. That they're just desperately trying to regulate. It's just it's never meant to be this regulated. So yeah, the other game was Chelsea versus Porto. Now this is a funny one because I guess both those countries are, England and Portugal respectively, are just racked with COVID. So they played. So they're playing in a neutral stadium in Sevilla, whatever. Yeah, sometimes I try to. I'd say, I'm going to be cultured. I'm going to say Sevilla, like the locals say. And sometimes
you say it 3 different ways.
And I'll say Seville because I'm reading it. So I'll say Seville. I mean Sevilla. I mean, I'm smart. Yeah. So that team is playing Seville. They're playing both legs in a neutral venue
with away goals.
With the away goals. So the first leg was whose home leg was that? Was that Chelsea's home leg?
Couldn't tell you.
That seems to me. I guess you can't have different rules for different.
Yeah, it's because you'd have to do it from the start. Yeah,
but it does seem weird.
But I mean, they knew this was going to be the case from the start. They could have made this the rule.
Well, they weren't sure where people would be with vaccinations and lockdowns and zero COVID. I don't think anybody's achieved zero COVID except for Australia and New Zealand. So I mean, that was maybe never going to happen. But yeah, they've decided that there's kind of a neutral venue with home and away goals. I think that was Chelsea's home. I'll try to look it up. I think that was Chelsea's home game. Well, away goals aside, Chelsea looked the better team for sure. They didn't have, like we were saying, Oliveira before the game. I was wrong in saying that Pepe was suspended. He's not suspended. He played. That Mason Mount was another lucky goal.
Yeah, for a coward.
For a coward and a spoofer, and a little teacher's pet. And then
Southgate again watching at home, being like, "Oh well, I guess."
Oh well, okay, he must be a good player now. Like to talk to himself. The wife just gets him on the couch and leaves. It's like, oh, where are you going? Maybe you're wrong. Oh, maybe I'm right.
Standing in front of a whiteboard that has 50 right backs' names on
it. Yeah, so that was happy for Mason Mount. Every time he scored, I like that it riles up people. I don't know why. I might be a Chelsea fan or anything, but I just hate people seeing just people being abused for no reason, for the sake of the meme, And then Chilwell with the other goal, another really good finish. I think my prediction of Porto missing Oliveira big time was pretty accurate on that one. Again, depending on what the away goals are, it could be very different in the second leg. But I would still probably back Chelsea to go through on that one.
Yeah, they look pretty comfortable.
Yeah, they sure did. They sure did. What is there a draw for the next round, or does somebody play somebody?
So the winner of Bayern PSG plays the winner of City Dortmund, and the winner of Madrid Liverpool plays Porto or Chelsea.
Damn. I mean, you have oil money with PSG versus Man City, but then you have the 2013 final of Bayern versus Dortmund, and then you have Chelsea, Porto, Liverpool, Real Madrid. So Chelsea, Liverpool probably won't happen. Real Madrid, Porto.
Madrid, I think Madrid would beat Chelsea. Madrid might.
I'm telling you, Madrid are no slouches. People and I say I was one of them thought they're old and past it, but they're not that old, and they're definitely not past it. And they have, a manager that they all know and love. They have a team
who's good in the Champions League, who's unbelievable in it.
Yeah, and Chelsea, they seem good. Porto.
I don't think they seem that good though. They're playing Porto. I think if they're playing any of the tougher teams, it's
that's what I was going to say. That they seemed good in the league for a while. Then they had a total capitulation against West Brom, and now they've
El Diablo,
El Diablo himself, the scourge of Stamford Bridge. And then, Porto missing some of their better players. It's hard to know how good Chelsea are. On paper, obviously they have a really good team. Really good group of talented players rather than a really good team. But yeah, I would back Real Madrid to go through against Liverpool, and I would back them to beat either Chelsea or Porto. And I think you will be seeing Real Madrid in the final in 2021. The other side is more unpredictable for sure. PSG Bayern, I couldn't call it right now. Yeah. I guess I just did that. I said PSG would probably win it, but it's definitely not as clear cut as the other side. And then Dortmund City, I think I backed City, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Dortmund come to that either. So, I think it'll be Real Madrid versus the winner of that other semi-final. To be honest, that's my prediction at this point. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Madrid. I think a Madrid City final probably.
Oh, that's a good shout.
And then hope and pray City don't do it and don't win the quadruple.
Oh yeah, the quadruple is still on. I forget about that sometimes.
You can never forget. Always think the quadruple has to be racking around your brain.
I mean, if the quadruple comes in, that's just the end of it all, isn't it? Really,
that's the end of football. Of course, the team that bought all the players won all the things.
Yeah, it just totally takes the piss out of every kind of magic of the cup, or any player, any team can win any games. No, they can't. The team who buys the best squad does.
Yeah, all the achievements in the past will just be wiped out because it's City just paid money and beat everybody ever.
That could be the start of bringing in salary caps and stuff. If they win the quadruple, it's not and no disrespect to the French league or the Portuguese league, winning the treble or winning the quadruple for them, it's just not the same. Because they'll be Tottenham in the quarterfinals, or in the not the quarterfinals, the FA Cup, Carabao, sorry, with Dele Alli and Gareth Bale and Harry Kane and Toby Alderweireld, not a nothing team. Yeah. And then you'll have to beat probably Real Madrid in the final, plus Bayern or PSG along the way. And then to win the league against, the team that United have assembled, the team that Liverpool have.
The league,
to walk the league. And then the FA Cup against maybe Chelsea.
Leicester.
Chelsea Leicester.
Oh, yeah.
So, it would be an insane achievement. to the point where like things, you know,
it would be too much of an achievement. Like it's unachievable
if that
for any other club.
If that happens, then the theory that I heard recently may be true. And that, remember we were fucking around with that large hadron collider. What's it called? The not the hadron collider. There's a word I can't pronounce and don't know.
The Higgs boson thingy. That yoke.
I'm looking up hadron collider. I love Google. I've hadron collider. The hadron collider. Remember we were fucking around with that for a while in like 2012.
And then it's been insane ever since.
And like we think nothing happened, but we got shifted into some bizarro world where like, you know, Donald Trump became president and City won the quadruple. Both equally crazy things. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's probably a good shout. City Real Madrid final. But it's too hard to say. Like I say, halftime in these games. But they were great games. They were very interesting. Almost made me forget what was happening in the world for a little bit.
Yeah.
But something that really brought me back down to reality was the Europa League.
Oh god, yeah. 2 stinkers of games we watched.
Oh my god, like because even the last one, the Champions League, it was like this is when it gets good. Last 16, no bad games. Europa League, we're in quarterfinals, some pretty bad games all around.
Yeah, mostly bad.
Like this is why you can't get excited about the Europa League. Like if it was like there's 10 really, really good teams, but we can't fit them all to one competition. So we're going to have the other 5 good teams in this competition. It's like, no, there's like slightly worse teams in a slightly worse competition with slightly worse players.
It's because like we're United and Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
For us, it's when we win the games in the Europa League, it's like, well, yeah, of course we did. We have to. We're way better than those teams.
Yeah.
We should be winning at a canter. But then when we don't, we're like, oh my god, this is a disaster.
Well, even the coverage of the games, anybody didn't see the results. Arsenal lost, United won, but like both the coverage was like, you know, they're pinning all their hopes on this for a respectable season. It's like if they win the Europa League, it's respectable. Like with Slavia Prague, this would be one of their greatest years. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the resources that they have versus the United or Arsenal, it's like, you know, you totally disrespect the competition by just like, oh god, if we don't win this, we may as well kill ourselves. It's like, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, United,
I think that's what comes back to bite teams as well in the Premier League.
Yeah,
that like playing it, because it's pretty rare Premier League teams win it, but it always does seem like they're kind of walking through games and they get beat, and then it's all of a sudden like Tottenham against Prague when they were like, oh fuck, this is bad.
Yeah,
things are really bad here now.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. It's like if you win the Europa League, it's like, yeah, but I mean, you know, come on. Like, are you really going to celebrate that? Like, are you really going to, you know, you didn't come close in the league. You weren't in Champions League. Yeah. Like, so
United got knocked out of the Champions League to play in this tournament.
Yeah, like, you know, it's kind of like when you get given essays in school as punishment. It's like, you have to eventually write an essay in the leaving cert, like, but this, I just feels like a punishment every time I do it. I mean, it's like, it's hard to get good at doing it. Like, if you get knocked, your prize for getting knocked out of the competition you want to be in is this other competition. It's like, you're not going to be excited about the competition. You're like, oh God, like this is the one you do when you're bad, you know?
This is the poor one.
Yeah. So like, it's just I even finishing lower than the top 4. It's like, if you'd finish, if you were better, you'd be in this competition. So this is the booby prize. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to kind of market it when it's set up like that. But yeah, United obviously had a decent win. You texted during that game and said these are the Spanish Burnley, Granada.
Yeah, they were literally, I think, the dirtiest team I've ever. Not even the dirtiest, but just like I said it as well. You hear the phrase "masters of the dark arts" in football sometimes. They are the best I've ever seen at it.
Yeah.
I think United got 6 yellow cards, and I don't think Granada got 1.
Yeah, I think maybe they got a couple towards the end, like consistent fouling ones.
Yeah, but it was like, okay, now you've done 20 fouls, you need to get
and that's the key. It's like, don't make one big, like, because Maguire got done, and he just like totally grabbed your man to stop him from running, and he's like, that's the first time. It's like,
it's my first foul.
Like, that was a really bad foul, a really obvious, blatant one. That's not how you do it. Yeah. You do lots of, you know, microaggressions, I think is what the kids call it.
Lots of little kicks, lots of little stamps on heels, but then also big exaggerated dives anytime you're touched.
Yeah.
Especially when the first one works, you're like, okay, we've got this.
Yeah, little niggles.
And then also, they're the loudest team I've ever heard.
Very loud.
The ball would go out for a throw in, the whole backroom staff and everyone would be screaming that's their throw.
Yeah,
like they just put so much pressure on the refs. They're really good at it.
Because there's one where there's some kind of confusion of like there's a player down injured.
Yeah, he got touched, like lightly grazed, and he went down.
Well,
and they were roaring.
Well, I was thinking the one where someone went down, and like you play the ball out of play, and then you play it back, and there's this kind of like unwritten rule.
Yeah.
I went over. I think United put it out for their player, and then they threw the ball to United, and I went, right, we'll just play on from here. So like they didn't go back to the keeper.
Like, no.
I thought there was like I was like searching for like the scrap on the sideline, like the shouting, like the fever hysteria. Like there must be somebody getting lit up right now or something. Like I was like, what?
Yeah.
It was just because they weren't playing the ball back. It was like really, really intense shouting.
It happened a few times. I think there was like 3 different times where a Granada player would go down after like a really light challenge.
Yeah.
But he did the thing I always thought, why don't players do that? Of immediately go down and hold your head, and the ball has to go out no matter what. Otherwise, you're a bad man. And then as soon as the ball comes up, hop up to your feet, back to the game. We have the ball now for some reason.
Yeah. No, it was. I guess they're not as good. Yeah, that like.
Yeah, but that's why they're where they are in the Europa, because they're savage at that.
Anybody saw Roberto Soldado lining out thought these guys better have something else than talent, because he was bad 6 years ago at Tottenham. I mean, he's
oh my god! I don't think there was a single shot he took that didn't go out for a throw in. It felt like woeful.
So United eventually won 2-0. That one, they kind of grind them down. There was it was funny because I thought I tweeted incorrectly that it was Maguire who put that ball up to Rashford.
Lindelof, wasn't it?
Lindelof, but it was a great goal, but it was the Europa League version of the Tony Kroos from this. It was like,
it was just balls straight down the middle.
It was really, really good, and it wasn't that it was a better version of that pass and finish and touch 2 days previous. It would have been the goal of the week, but Lindelof played it, and then Rashford had a good first touch, lucky second touch, and then kind of a reaching finish rather than this one where she's like confidently shoulders it across the defender and lashes it in.
He swung at it and fell over.
But we were saying this last week. He loves playing hurt. He loves soldiering on.
He is going to be retired by the time he's 25, definitely.
Yeah,
because he looked wrecked again. He played well as well last night. He limps every game. He plays, I think I said it last week, he plays like he's been hit by a car recently.
Yeah, he's always shaking off an injury, always walking it off. But that's the thing, if he wasn't playing, who was going to score the goal?
Exactly, yeah. Because Cavani as well, his time is up. It was a nice few weeks, but I don't think he touched the ball the last 2 times he's played.
Yeah. Well, it's when you see Cavani play that maybe you appreciate Zlatan Ibrahimovic that a little bit more. No. I can't believe that. Like that's the thing. This is what you were getting when you thought you were getting Ibrahimovic, Cavani. That Ibrahimovic was good for us. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, look. Well,
I will say, Rashford scored last night.
Yeah.
He's the first United player since Wayne Rooney to score 20 goals in consecutive seasons, which I couldn't believe. I was sure Lukaku done that, but apparently no.
Yeah.
That's how bad United strikers have been over the last 7 or 8 years. Like,
well, that's how Rashford forced himself to play, because he's like, I have to play. Like he is one of those like winners. Like I'd say he hates losing like anything at all. If he's
and like he's at United since he's like 4 years of age. He wants to win. Like
he was born in Carrington.
He's not going to want them to ever lose anything. He'll play it around to get them.
Yeah, so like I think that's when you see a team, not a bad team, but like a team that's like just not quite there. It's like players who just don't trust their teammates.
Yeah.
To the point where I'll play injured before letting you try and get the winner here against Granada. And
as well, he's on like what? I think he's 23 or 24.
23, I think, yeah.
But he has like 84 goals for United, so like he could be on track for top scorer. So that has to be on his mind of being like, I have to score all the time.
Well, he won't be top scorer if he retires at 28.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's going to ruin himself trying it. Like,
yeah. I guess we should probably talk about Arsenal, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
it. I mean...
Well, let's say as well, what about Aubameyang? He's done, isn't he?
Well, he came on and changed the game, to be fair.
But...
He came on and he obviously wasn't starting. They played Smith Rowe, the Great White Hope Smith Rowe ahead of him. And then they had loads of chances. Like Saka, who had a great chance in the first half to put that, the one he's coming on the side and he just put it well wide. And then that was kind of it in the first half. There wasn't many other chances.
Yeah.
Arsenal had the better of the chances, but
yeah, definitely.
The one in the second half, Lacazette,
smashed it as hard as he could.
And people were crying that he wasn't playing for France. Like, what? Like this is Deschamps is sitting at home with his wife with his whiteboard with strikers up there. I said, "Ha!" His
is all in cursive. It's much calmer.
Yeah, it's much more stereotyped. He did well. To be fair, I guess pressing is tiring when you're trying to press a man and try and win the ball back and go from man to man. It is tiring. He won the ball off him, and that usually gives you a second window. Yes, I'm going to score now. He walked up to the goal, daring the Slavia Prague players to get back and stop him. And the goalie, and I knew what the goalie was doing here. He was like, "This ball's not going through my legs like Boateng." He came out and made himself as small as possible. He didn't go wide and open his legs and arms and try and get this ball isn't going through my legs. He fell over to the side, made himself really small, stuck out a hand, and then for some reason Lacazette was maybe it's confidence, but it's I have to I don't want this to get stopped 1-1. What is wide as possible, try to curl it in. Hit the very top corner. He had the whole goal to aim at. The goal didn't even try to stop it. And yeah, he fucking he waltzed when he was waltzing up to the goal. It reminded me of, I don't know if you remember when in the Euro 2016 final when Giroud was set away in equally as much space, and as soon as he got the ball and started moving, I was like, he doesn't have legs here. He's not going to get where he needs to be in the time the defender's going to get back to him. And it's that's where Benzema should have been, but whatever. Yeah. And that when Lacazette got the ball and he started moving, I at first thought he's going to get caught. He's moving way too slowly. But at no point was confident of him putting that ball in the goal.
Finishing it, yeah.
So maybe that what riled Aubameyang up, because Aubameyang came on with Pepe. And instantly then there was a kind of injection of pace, and Aubameyang missed a sitter. He missed an absolute sitter. I was like, oh my God, you ridiculous fucking Andre 3000 hairstyle. Dreads taped around your head. I mean, just whatever. But he did play well when he came on, and Pepe then got the goal. From an Aubameyang assist, he kind of held the ball up and put him away. I was like, all right, well, look, we'll go past this round, but I don't know how much further. And then, I saw the phrase peak Arsenal being used, which at this point, I don't know what that means anymore, because it's become a meme unto itself.
It's regular Arsenal. Yeah.
It's what is peak Arsenal? Is it doing a terrible move in the transfer market? Is it, just injury prone? In this scenario, peak Arsenal was conceding a 92nd minute winner. You know what I mean? It's you remember Arsenal, the kind of say peak Arsenal, the banter club, the banter FC, the banter era. The word banter has come and gone.
Yeah. Arsenal has stayed.
Arsenal are still conceding 92nd minute winners or equalizers. Think of the peak of that laddish, lad Bible banter, any thing, insert your sports plus banter. That was a thing. We kind of died with Richard Keys, it was just banter.
Yeah. That was then people were like, "Ooh, I don't know," that.
It kind of this is how cringy it is. There's a man in his 40s sincerely using banter as an excuse. All right, this is kind of over. But Arsenal is still say they're someone who's still running a football banter page on Facebook. It's you still run the page called Football Banter in 2021. You're just taking out tired memes and replacing Rosicky with El Neni. It's man, give it up. You got to change the record here. But it just means that Arsenal haven't even had, if Arsenal had been good for 3 years, a 3-year period, that whole thing would have died. But they've continually been bad for 10 years. Just
well, look at the other clubs that have had their banter eras or whatever, and then come out of it. Liverpool used to be bad. They're great. Now they're bad again. United are bad. They're pretty good now. Tottenham are bad, good, bad again. Arsenal have just flatlined the whole thing.
Arsenal are now 2010 Liverpool in that 20 years. Well, it will be 20 years in 2024, is it? 2004 there was.
Yeah.
So in 2024, they will be 20 years at win the league. And they
That's
definitely will be.
mental.
They definitely will not. By the time,
Yeah.
like, you know, if this podcast is still going, you can call up and tell me how wrong I was. I'd be happy to take the call. But like, that's, you know, it'll be like they had good teams and good players, came close, fell short, just regressed terribly back in the 7th and 8th, just like Liverpool did. Like, I don't know where Arsenal go from here to try and, like, again, like I say, it's only half time in these games, but it doesn't look like Arsenal are going to go to Prague and get a result. They just look devoid of any motivation, to be honest. Most of them.
I surely something like they can't all still be backing Arteta when they're 10th in the league and all that stuff. Like,
but it's not. I mean,
I know it's not him, but
any of the players can fucking do one, mate. They can fucking do one. Like, yeah, I know I've taken the piss out of Saka and Smith Rowe. Like, not having to go with them. It's not, you know, but to say to pin your all hopes on them, but like, it's them. Possibly Tierney, if he was fit, he's out for 6 weeks again, which is just, you know, cruel. That's also peak Arsenal. Just one of your better players getting injured for
constantly.
6 weeks. Maybe Martinelli because of his age as much as anything.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, they're never going to win the league with Arsenal.
No.
So like most of the team you can throw out.
Yeah, start over.
Like they're a long, long way from a title, to be honest. So it's again, if they're not going to win Europa League because they're not good enough, they wouldn't beat United in over 2 legs or in a final. They wouldn't beat.
Well, I think if they manage to get to the final, I wouldn't rule them out winning because United always have that mental block against Arsenal lately.
Maybe
over 2 legs, I don't think they would. Not a chance.
Or would they beat Roma or Ajax in the other side or Villarreal?
Yeah.
You know, like they're just not.
Oh, with Emery in charge of Villarreal, no chance. That is.
Yeah.
That's fucking written in the stars.
I think Arsenal would rather lose this game, this leg, than to watch Emery come and just smugly win. But whatever, yeah. I mean, Arsenal fucking terrible. Letting just someone needs to go and head that ball away. Like it's I think someone's time it was like 63 seconds or 83 seconds till the game was over. Yeah. Get that ball out. Like go up and head that ball. Like win past like 3 of them and just peak Arsenal. So yeah, Arsenal go to Prague with a 1-1. I would probably back Slavia Prague at this point because they have their racist centre back come back for the next game.
Well, I think that'll be a detriment to them though, because I think the Arsenal players will want to stick it to him. You know what I mean? Like the Wales did.
I don't see that, to be honest. I don't think Arsenal have any. I don't think they have that in them. I think he'll probably score the winner.
Shush them. Could you imagine if the draw was a bit different and Arsenal had played that Granada team? That would have been a great game to watch, of just the team that is like so gives up so easy and just gets bullied around against the team of bullies. That would have been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. I think the Granada would have started doing that and then gone, these guys aren't very good.
Pass circles around them.
Wait a minute. Let's get some triangles going. What are we doing? We got Soldado 1-1 with Luis. Just get him in there. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was a tough watch, a tough loss. The other games were Ajax Roma, which again I was trying to watch the United and Arsenal games. 4 games, forget about it. I don't even have 4 screens to my name, so I couldn't possibly watch them all. So I was doing that, watching the highlights of the game afterwards. Ajax were the favourites, I think, to win that. Roma came out 2-1. The talking point from it was the ball boy. That was great, man. That was great.
That was unreal.
Roma were 2-1 up, and they were kind of time wasting a little bit. And the Ajax ball boy I didn't fucking see it, to be honest. All I saw was that the clips after the ball boy just fucks the ball right at the
right in his head.
Hits him right in the sternum.
I don't know if you noticed in the clip. So he throws the ball at him, and it hits the player. And it's so embarrassing because the player's first reaction, he goes to dive and like hold his head, and then he realizes, oh, I can't do that actually, and he stops immediately.
It's a 12-year-old ball boy. Yeah.
He was thinking, I'm going to get this ball boy sent off, just out of instinct.
Yeah, that just the reaction of doing it all the time. That like if somebody does anything towards me, get them sent off. Oh wait, no, it's a ball boy. It's a member of the public.
Child. That should be allowed. Whenever players are time wasting, the ball boys should be allowed to do that. That's a good rule. Just constantly aim for the head, fire it as hard as you can.
Yeah, I think FIFA have banned him from the Qatar World Cup, so justice was served. He will not ball boy at the FIFA World Cup ever again. Yeah, so that was the Europa League. There was the other game, on the other side. Do you know what the games were?
Villarreal versus someone.
Yeah, I think Villarreal played Spartak Moscow, perhaps. That's a Europa League 17 team, isn't it?
Dinamo Zagreb.
Close. That's not racism, folks. Would you calm down? I can hear you. It was just it was more kind of elitism, if anything. You know, as a player who supports a team in the same competition.
As a player.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up. I'm trying to look up the result there. As a podcaster, sorry, Dynamo Zagreb. 1-0 Villarreal. Gerard Moreno with the penalty for them. Who plays Zagreb in the next round?
Arsenal.
Okay. Well, no. Let's be honest. We don't know.
Praha.
We don't know. Slavia Praha. That's a real Europa League tie. Dynamo Zagreb versus Slavia Praha. I love that. That's your fucking rules, man. And then United versus
Roma or
Ajax.
They've had a hard draw, United, apart from Granada, but they're coming up against some tough teams. Like Milan was very tough.
Tough place to go, Granada, get results. So don't belittle that results like I just did to Spartak Moscow. Close enough. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't like the Europa League. How about that? I just fucking, I've got no interest in the games that fucking, Arsenal weren't playing in. And but I was thinking on watching the Champions League games, like, I can't believe they're going to change this. This is so good.
It's a joke, isn't it?
Like, they do this all the time. Like, they're trying to do that in the GA as well. It's like, oh, but the early rounds aren't as good. It's like, not every fucking game is going to be a final or a semi-final. Like, that is the nature of everything. Like, it's meant to build.
It's a slow build to the big game.
Yeah, like, you're not going to have like this European Super League where it's like, every game is going to be a 3-2 PSG Bayern. Like, it's not. Like, there's been
like
loads
if
of
Bayern
games.
Are playing PSG and then United and fucking Real Madrid in like the group stage.
Yeah.
When it gets to the final, it's going to be like, I've seen all the big games. I don't it doesn't mean anything anymore now.
But maybe it's just this kind of like, this instant satisfaction generation. Like, I want every game to be perfect and great. It's like, from people who probably don't watch the fucking early games anyways, don't watch the early Champions League rounds. And like, the thing is, like, they're not as important for like the top teams. Like,
you have to win them.
Well, they do, but like, they're not as important because they're not playing as good teams. I'll tell you, it is important. These small teams, like, this is maybe the biggest game they've had in the last 6 years when they go to play Barcelona or Real Madrid at the Bernabeu or the Nou Camp. Like, okay,
that'll be gone totally.
Yeah, so if Real Madrid are playing their second team or like some of the younger players and they'll still win, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, for the Ludogorets fans or the whoever in the Champions League, they want to play those games. Like, that's still a great European night for them. It's no skin off Real Madrid's back. They're still going to get to the last 16 or so like, it's a good situation. Like, I just don't see why the games aren't exciting enough.
Well, it's because it's based off, so it's more teams, so more games, but it's also based on your coefficient rather than where you come in the table. So you can say United finish 7th because they have like a ranking in Europe. They'll still get Champions League above. Like, so it just makes the league as well. If you're not winning the league, then who cares? You can come anywhere.
Yeah, it's like, we need to see Man United playing playing Real Madrid, both of them playing their second teams in a fucking group game. It's like, no, like now you just have two teams where it doesn't matter as much too.
Yeah.
Or,
it just makes the leagues and the Champions League worse for the sake of more money for the big teams. Like,
for the sake of the corporations having Man United and Real Madrid playing the same game, so more money for TV things. Like, that's all it is. Like, there's not enough people in the gets to make it worth our while. It's like, it just annoys me. It really does annoy me, bro. Well, look, let's not end on a negative note. It was a great week of European football, really. I mean, the Arsenal result aside, they were pretty good games. And again, the best thing is because every game, every week, there has to be great games this year because we missed 2 weeks to start. No, I still don't know how that works. But Champions League next week again, second leg, second half of these games. Like I say, I think I'm going to stick by my predictions. I think I'm pretty okay in them. I'm looking forward to it for next week.
Same.
We'll be back on Tuesday, I think. Premier League is back, of course. We'll bring you back any big news stories as well, any funny stories. That's about it. Thank you, Will.
Yep. No bother, bro.
All right. Good luck, everybody.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? What are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?